with a bit of insanity. It's Fox Across America with Jimmy Failla.
Oh, you bet it is. And we are fired up to talk to this next guest, a superstar representative from the great state of Florida. Fan favorite on this show, the lovely and talented. The team nobody wants to play, Representative Byron Donalds back in the program. Hey, man.
Jimmy, what's going on, man?
The Super Bowl's going on, BD. We're fired up over here.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be a big game, but, Patrick Mahomes, that's all I got to say.
Damn, listen, I keep going back and forth on this because obviously he's the best talent on the field, head and shoulders above everybody else out there. But there's this other part of me in that this season becomes such a punchline if he loses. Now, I can't root against him, but if Taylor Swift loses after all of this, isn't it kind of funny?
Taylor Swift. Man, listen, first of all, why is everybody so distracted with her? Like, she's, obviously pop star, no denying that, yep. But, who cares? She's not on the field. I don't care.
No, you make good points. I'm with you. I think a lot of the football people, it's a weird criticism, though, because some of the football people are like, oh, they show her too much. But the truth is, if you grew up watching the NFL, anytime you were watching a blowout, they immediately turned it into an exercise of the cameraman finding hot girls in the stands. Do you remember that as a kid?
I remember it as a kid, but football, it's not a question. But the key for this game for me is, can the Kansas City Chiefs stop the run? Mm-hmm. And if they can stop or slow down Christian McCaffrey, it's the Chiefs' game to lose. Whoa, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs' defense can slow down the run.
Well, this is big talk because you are, and the audience knows this, the most successful sports handicapper in the history of the show. Like I still half believe Congress should just be letting you bet games, and maybe we'd solve the deficit issue.
Yeah, we would actually work out. We'd make some money.
Maybe a little better than what we're doing. So did anyone take this border bill seriously when it came your way?
In the House?
Yeah.
No. Some of the Democrats did, but that's just politics. But all it took was reading about 10 pages of this thing. Once you got past all the money we were going to give to Ukraine and basically Hamas to the Palestinian people. Yep. And once you got past that and you saw what the actual measures were, and look, 5,000 people a day, Jimmy's, 1.8 million people a year.
Yeah.
That's step one. Step two is even the emergency procedures, they would only let them use them for about 200 days a year.
Yeah.
And then the third thing, Jimmy, was the emergency procedures to secure the border. They would expire in 3 years under this bill. So if it's such good procedures to secure the border, why does it expire?
Yep.
Like, it's stuff like that. So once you read it, you're like, no, this is stupid. This is a dumb deal. I'm not supporting it. Yep. The thing I was most happy about is that Senate Republicans stood up to Mitch McConnell and told him no.
Yeah, and
that was a great thing.
That was a win because he was initially posturing like he wanted people to support this, right?
Oh, yeah, no, McConnell wanted this bill because McConnell wants Ukraine funding.
Yeah.
So that's why McConnell wanted this bill. And so he wanted it because it would be his way to get Ukraine money across, which is what he wants. Yeah. But the reality is the bill is terrible. There's no way Republicans should have supported it. And I'm glad that we did not.
No, what's fascinating about it, we're talking to Representative Byron Donalds from the 19th Congressional District of Florida. What's fascinating about it is they're basically on the Democratic side of the aisle trying to get credit for putting out a fire they started. Okay, we only have the border problem because they rescinded Trump policies. But to be clear, the bill they're proposing, which they would claim was a legislative win, wouldn't actually solve the problem. It would just get them election year kudos. Is that essentially what this was?
That is exactly right, because the flow would continue. It would just be orderly. Mm. What they were going to do is just process everybody at the southern border, as opposed to actually make sure that they don't come into the country. Yeah. That's what they were going to do in the bill. I mean, they would do it through points of entry at the southern border, as opposed to illegal points of entry, Jimmy.
So they're coming. It's just how we process them, and that's the illusion.
Yes.
Yeah, this is why people hate Washington, and we appreciate you calling it out for what it is. Another question, though. Are you throwing a challenge flag at the Supreme Court justice case today? Because essentially, I watched the morning arguments myself. I don't know how much you've seen, but we're watching an effort to bar Trump from the ballot over a crime he's not being legally charged with. Isn't that a racket?
I mean, that's Democrat politics today. It's not happening. Nobody's brought the case that it's happening, but they call it so, and then they want everybody to act on their terms. That's the Democrats through and through. And so I think that the court's going to do the right thing. They're going to say this is foolishness, and they're going to basically tell Colorado you cannot do this, because if you're going to use the 14th Amendment, you actually have to charge somebody with insurrection.
Yeah.
And that's not happened.
It's bizarre because all of this stuff we're talking about, it just looks so transparent to me. And I'm not over here, hosting a radio show with a 1600 on the SATs. I don't even know that I took the SATs. I was doing OPP in the 90s. I wasn't even doing the SATs. But I think it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
You should not tell people exactly what OPP means. Jimmy,
Byron Donalds has become standards and practices on the show, which is not good. It's not a good look for the show. But the point is, okay, if it's that obvious to me, I know the rest of the country sees it. And there's a desperation within the Democratic Party, I think, when it comes specifically to black voters and Latino voters. And I think we're already seeing the rhetoric ratchet up against Republicans all being a bunch of racists. Like, do you see, as a black member of Congress yourself, the fact that their grip, maybe their monopoly on the black vote, is starting to slip?
Oh, yeah, it's a real problem. It is slipping. And the reason why is because their policies, especially with respect to illegal immigration, is hurting a lot of black people in urban areas. When kids get kicked out of a school because it's too cold outside, well, whose kids are getting kicked out of a school in inner city New York? Black people, Hispanic people. When rec centers are being closed because they need shelters for migrants, who's getting kicked out of those shelters, out of those rec centers? Mostly black kids, mostly Hispanic kids, poor white kids. That's who's getting kicked out of there, Jimmy. Yep. And so this is coming to the fore. Everybody's seen the MSNBC clip where they're trying to compare how people's money was flowing when Trump was president versus Biden was president. Yep. And what those brothers said in that clip is real. It is being felt all through the country. When I talk to people who are, on the Democrat side of the aisle, they tell me the same thing. They're like, man, we're hemorrhaging black men. It's a real problem. And so this is going to continue, but it's not because of anything except that Joe Biden's a terrible president. He's bad at this. Now, as a Republican, our job is to actually demonstrate what our agenda is, how that is beneficial for black Americans, Hispanic Americans, white Americans, etc. And that's why they should be voting for us.
Imagine.
And if we do that, we're going to do just fine in November.
No, I think that's amazing. And I love that you saw that MSNBC clip, because can we agree they did not set up a shoot in a barbershop looking for the reaction they got?
Listen, the barbershop will tell you, Jimmy, that's where a lot of stuff goes down in the community.
Oh, I'm aware. I was just at Floyd's in L.A. I got a nice touch-up for my TV show this weekend. And,
did you get the Kelsey? Did you get the Kelsey, Jimmy? Is that what they're calling it now?
I did not. I got the Jimmy, which I don't know what you consider this, but it works, BD. It works. Last question then. So do you guys throw down? Are you having a Super Bowl party?
No, I'm not having a Super Bowl party, Jimmy. I'm working on behalf of the American people.
It's a Sunday night. That was the most political answer you've ever given in the history of this show. One, right? Good for you. So what does that mean?
No. I'm just going to hang out at home, watch the game with my family, probably a couple friends.
That's all we do. That's all I do. And the one thing I would just tell you, everyone listening should know this. The rule has to be, if you go to somebody's Super Bowl party, shut up when the commercials come on, because you want to hear them, and you want to watch the game. Like, the Super Bowl is a spectacle, but at the end of the day, like, I want to watch the game, so I need to keep all the parade floats out of the living room.
100%. Listen, watch the game, watch what Patrick Mahomes does, eat a lot of food, chicken wings preferably, Amen. And then you just go on from there and enjoy life.
You nailed it.
In America, we have to be able to enjoy sports and comedy. If we can do that, the country will just be much happier.
Yeah, we actually have a chance. That's the whole point I keep saying. We're winning the war on fun on the Republican side of the aisle. Thank you. BD, take a bow. Stellar stuff as always. Enjoy the Super Bowl, man.
All right. See you, Jimmy.
You're the greatest.